Hello viewers, welcome to CodeForAny. Fruit markets, Flutter apps inside today need to making this here the pop-up layouts as well as need to develop this here the image pickers because we need to add this here the admin side the add items needs here the image pickers and to image pickers for we need this here the pop-up layers. First of all, making these two controls, and tomorrow need to start this here the item add screens need to develop here, and as well as need to add API need to calls. But tomorrow, let's start how to write down inside the pop-up layouts need to are here, and some previous layouts in a project inside also need to making here. If you not needs then to go inside our the GitHub's page, www.github.com/, need to write down here the code for any, and to get this here the Flutter projects inside we need to copy anyone's the pop-up layouts is way. Now need to explain here the again how to write down these common functions. Need to go inside here the common widgets, and we need to create here the pop-up layouts. Need to create here the common widgets inside the new files, and we need to give this here the name popup underscore layout dot dat. Like this, we need to custom pop-out layouts we need to develop here. First of all, we need to create here the module routes we need to develop here for these pop-up layouts. To declare here the class, and we need to write down here the pop-up layouts, and we need to extend with here the model routes. For the material dependency, like we need to configurations for this UI, and we need to add here the missing overlays we need to put here. First of all, we need to set this here this overrides methods we need to integrations are the needs, and need to declare here the some property or related to this UI edges inserts. We need to set here the margins like here's color, BG color, and finals we need to give this here the widgets we need to put inside these childs. Like so need to configurations for the final widgets need to write down here, and I need to make here need to making here the pop-up layouts constructors need to develop here, set here the key optionals, set here the key, then after this dot color, and required this dot child, and this dot margin. These parameters need to pass here for these layouts need to putting here. Now need to returning this here the colors, BG colors, question marks if not found. So need to set this here the color black with value. We need to set this here the alpha means here the opacity. We need to set this here the 0.5 like this. Need to set here. This is the new methods. Before need to use this here the color black dot with opacity function need to use, but these methods are the deprecated. That's why I need to use this here the with alpha colors. Need to put here. Then after so need to set here the another functions. We need to call this here the barrier dismiss. We need to by default need to set here this false methods for this UI like here. Then after need to barrier labels. We need to set here the null like here. So need to set here. Then after so need to page builders. So need to getting here, and need to creating here for here data, and remove this here these functions barrier page. Inside we need to write down here the margins. If here like here's question double mark equal to need to assign const if not found, then to assign this here the new pages insert all need to set here the 0 blank margins, and you need to returning this here guest detectors on tab event like these functions, and we need to create here the childs. We need to set here the material and set here the type material types dots. Need to set this is the transparency. Set here the child and to set here the backdrop filters. Filters inside need to give this here the image filter dot. You need to call this here the blurs sigma x y and sigma y. Also need to set here y like this sets here for these configurations. Then after need to set here the child and we need to declare this here the build overlay context widgets. We need to develop here first of all speaking not here two semicolons need to write here is good widget build overlay content. Set here the build context dot context like here and we need to return these functions here the container. Set here the margin as we need to set here the margin like here's alignments. We need to set here the alignment center like here's and set here the child. Set here semicolons and we need to give this builders build overview contents and to set here the context like so need to passing here need to configure here now. Then after so need to set here the maintain state. So need to set this here the false like here's. Then opacity also need to set here the false occupations. Then after we need to view this here the translation durations const duration and we need to set this here the millisecond need to set here 100 and last ones need to making here build translation override methods. We need to call this here or this UI remove here and to write down here the paid translations and we need to set here the opacity is animations. Then after give this here the child scale translations need to set here the scales as animations and set here the childs as a child parameters like these configurations and we need to save this years like this data. And write down here semicolons and fix this here the error issue need to set years. Now this is the pop-up layouts routes. We need to develop here the duns for this API. Now need to develop this here the image pickers view need to develop here. So now need to go inside here the common widgets and to create here the new files and to give this here the name image pickers view underscore view dot that's like this creates here. Now need to develop this here the image pickers need to create here the stateful widgets and we need to set here the name image picker view and we need to import here the material dependency like here and we need to set here the some parameters final functions and we need to call this here the string did select. Like here's we need to calling here's and we need to configure this value at these parameters like this at here's. Now need to declare here the final picker is equal to need to write down here the image picker, need to add here's like this, and now need to get here the where media is equal to need to call this here the media query pop size context size of context need to get here's for these functions like here's. Now need to set here the width and height, so need to set here the media dot width multiply by 0.9 and height also need to configure media dot width multiply by 0.7 and need to set here the padding const as is inset all and need to set here the 15 like here's decorations box decorations like this, need to set here the color dots white and border radius set here border radius circulars we need to set this here the 15. Then after we need to configure this here the box shadow for this UI box shadow, set the arrow brackets, set here the color black 54. Then after need to set here the blur radius, need to set here the 4. Spread radius also need to set here the 4. Like this configuration for the decorations. Then after box decorations, need to create here the childs, develop here the columns, set here the max axis alignment. Need to set this here the center. Then after create here the childs, to write down here the text and to set here the image picker title like here. Set here the style text styles. Set here the color T color primary text. Then after the font size, set here the 20. Then after font weight, to set here the font weight as a bold 700. Like these configurations for these titles, and now need to develop this here the some width space we need to providing here for this here. Sized box need to set here the height, need to set here the media dot width, otherwise need to use this here this context dot width and multiply by 0.04 like here's. Then after need to creating here the row, create here the childs and need to give this here the main axis alignment, set here the space between like here's. Now need to develop here the expanded, create here the text button and on press event. We need to set here the icon dots, we need to call this here the camera buttons. Then after need to give this here the site 100. Then after need to set here the color T color primary text like these configurations are the needs here for this UI. Same as you need to making here the another and we need to set this here the image like here's and this click events. Then after, so need to creating here the text. We need to develop here for this row. Again, so need to copy this row like here's and we need to set here the text. Now need to copy this text and we need to replace with this text buttons fourth place. And now need to set this here the gallery like here's and font size need to set here the 17 and font weight we need to remove here and first buttons we need to give this here the name as a take photo like yours. And now need to give this here the some height space. Again need to copy for this UI and after this row need to paste this here and we need to set here height as a 1 like here and we need to develop this here the another row and to create here the close button. Copy these text buttons, paste here, replace this text and we need to set here the end close. We need to set here the primary color and set here the 20 and font weight. Need to set here the 700 volt. We need to configure for this UI. Now we need to save here to go to the wrong place, but here and also do replace here. Like this UI, need to making here and we need to write down here some functions. Write down here the to do action. Now we need to write down here the void dot dismiss functions. We need to call here dismiss. Need to write down here the navigators. Otherwise, need to give this here the context dot pop methods. Extension methods need to call. So if you not see here the second video for this series, first of all need to see this here the second video, and then after need to call here. Now we need to create here the two functions. First ones need to get this here the image from the camera, and second functions are the image from the gallery. Two functions we need to develop here. So now need to write down here the futures, and we need to set here the get image camera. Set here and we need to write down here the try catch like here's and we need to write down here the debug print and we need to call this here the functions e dot to string like here's and we need to set here the final dot image picker pick file is equal to need to call this here the await and we need to call this here the picker dot pick image. Need to set here the source image source dots. Need to set here the camera semicolons. Now need to write down here the if picker file is not equal to null, then we need to widgets dot need to call this here the did select and we need to pass this here the file picker dot path return here for these functions and we need to call this here the dismiss functions. Like some need to write down for the camera, and same as need to create here the gallery to pick, or we need to write down function names gallery, and source also need to set here the gallery. Now need to save and to apply this here the functions. If here the close, then to call this here the dismiss functions like here's, and if you take, then we need to call this here the take photo and image, then to give this here the get from galleries and get from camera. Like these functions need to write down here the common image pickers view and pop-up layout. Today we need to making here, and tomorrow need to making this here the fruit items add UI need to develop here, as well as need to fruit list UI need to develop, and we need to call this here the API add updates and deletes. Then after the list API we need to calls tomorrow. If you like this video, please give the thumbs up. If you're new user, so please subscribe my channels and press the notification bell icon. You can get every new video notifications and awesome content. If you have any question, so please write down the comment sections. I will help you and sort out your issue. Everyone have a nice day. Goodbye and take care.